Yo, I'm sorry, I'm already loud.
That's all right.
Yep.
How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Fine, teacher.
Wonderful. You're good, Mr. Mason. How are you?
How are you?
I ain't getting no apples. Anybody brought me no apples?
I am blessed and highly favored.
All right, Reverend. Mel, where are you? You're clearly somewhere different. You're not in the kitchen tonight.
Mind your business. Just mind your business.
All right. Hey.
Oh,
I'm just saying, I ain't the only one that's gonna notice it. You know.
Mind your business.
you know
Y'all
what?
ain't seen all. Y'all ain't seen all the rooms in my house yet.
Well, I
here
just
we
said
go.
you ain't in the kitchen. You know.
Hey, you know what? This is confession night, and I'm gonna start this out early. I'm gonna have to call one of the members of the cave out. Mr. Roberson,
Sir.
somewhere there's a young lady who probably back in the late 90s, early 2000s was up in a club and probably went home and told her friends she met Ronnie DeVoe from New Edition. We're gonna need you to admit that you lied to her tonight somewhere. Just go on and confess
So
that
first
you
of
used
all,
to use that.
No. I never used that I was
Yeah,
actually
Mark.
Ronnie. I promise you, I never said I was Ronnie DeVoe.
You
I
said you
did use that I was his little brother, though. I did say that. I did say that quite frequently.
See, what I thought you would have said is that you never said it, but if somebody decided that that's who you were, then you
That's
would just
who you
roll
gonna
with
be.
it. Like, hey, I never said I was, but if that's what you think I am, and your hotel room number is what, you know,
Well,
then you would go
well,
with it. You know.
I tell people I'm Kenny Lattimore all the time.
Rob, you actually look like Kenny Lattimore too. Somebody
I
told me I
know.
look like Kenny Lattimore. I'm like, I do not look like Kenny Lattimore.
And we're born, actually, me and Kenny are born on the same day.
Really?
Yep.
Kenny's an Aries?
He is.
Is he a lover of life?
He is a lover.
He's part of God's favorite sign. Y'all know why Aries comes first in the zodiac? Because God gets it right on the first try. That's why.
So I don't even know why he created other zodiacs after that, Glenn. I
don't even know either. What's the use?
I don't know why.
I guess God is a Lakers fan too, right?
Well, we did win the championship this year, Shawn. That's all I'm gonna say. Praise God. Thank you.
God wasn't in the other championships.
You gonna thank God for that, man? Come on now, God ain't.
It was Gord. You say it like this. You say Gord. You don't say God. Okay, Gord.
Right,
we get started here because clearly.
Let's get these introductions, man.
Thank you, Mr.
Out of the way. And L. Porter, why don't you please introduce yourself to L. Tiger Stripes Porter? Why don't you introduce yourself, man, to anybody who maybe has not caught you in the cave before? Tell them a little bit about yourself and how you came to be on the show and what you got Well, you can tell us what you got coming up at the end, but
I'm L. Porter. I'm a filmmaker, writer, director, actor. Done movies like All About the Ring. You can see that on what's that? Amazon. You can check it out on Amazon. Most of my movies out there. Just so do a search for me. I have a project coming up that I'm planning on shooting in July. Hopefully, if everything falls into place. Called Dad and Sonnin'. So be on the lookout for that. I'm crowdfunding for it too. So
called what?
Crowdfunding for.
No, what is the project called?
Daddin' and Sonnin'.
Daddin' and Sonnin'. And Sonnin'.
Yeah, I got it the second time around. I wasn't familiar with the words, you know, something like that.
Yeah, we kind of
some L made up.
Hey, I thought it was, two names like Calvin and Hobbes. I thought it was. Hey, before we move around I'm gonna ask everybody that's watching, man, to share the show to your page as we continue to try to increase our followship and fellowship. So please share and tell folks about the cave. Tell them they might not always like it and they shouldn't come in if they're too thin-skinned, but tell them to come on. Tell them to come on. Robert Hazzard, introduce yourself to the viewing audience, sir.
Alrighty, I'm Robert Hazzard. I have a consulting group called the Hazzard Group here in Chicago. Of course, I have two beautiful children, and Rachel and Brian, as well as three grand boys, and a little girl, little granddaughter, Miami. Happy to be here with you, brothers. Can't wait to get this show going.
I see Big Dog Kennery just walked in the room on the viewer side. Shout out to Kennery, who's always a really cool guest to have on the show. Robert, I was going to ask you something really quick, man, and my broke brain, I've already forgotten it, so I'll come back.
So you want
Glenn?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy sharing this. Thank you, Facebook, for taking away the watch party, making life a lot easier for us. We really appreciate you, Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway, I am Glenn Murray. I am co-owner of G Rose Productions, 220 Publishing, do a few other things, but most importantly, happy to be here with you guys tonight.
You're particularly kind tonight. Are you? I mean, you know,
It won't last.
Yeah,
It won't last.
you've kicked our teeth out in the first couple of minutes, the last couple of weeks. So, you know, did you get some bad letters did some viewers send you some letters or something?
I've already been kicked out of groups and stuff because of y'all. So tonight it's just anything goes, but I just decided to start slow. You know, build to it. We're gonna build to this climax.
Yeah, I'm finally in the place where I don't care if you kick me out or not. Whatever.
You got to check the haters off, man. I always wanted to say that. I'm glad I got my chance. Yes,
you said you wanted to say what? What was that?
Yeah, but it broke up, L. So you ruined it.
We didn't. It was your Wi-Fi.
You got to check the haters off. I mean, what? That one. Man, y'all haters, man.
Neil, what is he saying? Do you know what he's saying?
Yeah, you never know what L Porter. And since we have Mel and we have L, you all can just refer to me.
Man, we a singing group, bro.
We can just refer to me as the voice tonight. I won't even make you say the voice of reason. You don't even have to say the whole thing like a pimp named Slick Back or a Tribe Called Quest. You could just say the voice or voice for short. You know, because I don't want people to be confused when you say Mel and L. They sound so similar.
I ain't gonna lie.
It's a whole consonant. It's a whole consonant in front of yours, so we all right. We all right.
I'm just saying.
Mel compared his name to a pimp. Let that be known. And
I did.
And not any old pimp named Slickback. Let's be
right.
Slickback.
Hey, I thought that was dope, man. I'm gonna call you voice.
Thank you, LL. My name is Mel Roberson.
This is what's known as a bromance, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Mel Roberson. I am an actor. I am an author. I am an entrepreneur. And today I am a proud father of a young lady that ran the first leg of the 4x100 relays. And their relay team came in first place, and she came in sixth in a long jump today. So for those of you wondering why I'm not cooking is because I am supporting my daughter at a track meet this weekend. So I'm not at my house at the moment, but I got dogs and security cameras and an alarm and a cousin that lives with me with 4 shotguns. So try it if you want to.
Yeah, I don't even know your address, so I couldn't hit you if I wanted to.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't steal nothing, anymore. So I wouldn't do that.
I would just break into the garage anyway.
Yeah. And
there's cameras and alarms on the garage, bruh.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. It's just a quicker getaway, though.
And you never know when cops are watching. They may run your picture or something like that. So I ain't got time about it.
You get in Mel's crib, it probably have some of those doors that shut and lock you inside. So
yeah,
that's
a whole other experience.
The garage.
Yeah.
Mel has a red room.
Hey,
see, I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a Steve. I'm not any of that sort of stuff.
Oh my God! It only took him 9 minutes to get it in, y'all. He's a lover of life.
Rob only steals hearts. He's the thief of hearts.
He's the thief of hearts.
Yeah. Hey man, lot to talk about, man. Let's Glenn, I heard you had a real cool stripper name.
I don't know what you're talking about, Shawn. Who thought of that stripper name? That's ridiculous. Who thought of doing something like that? Was that Roger? It was probably Roger Jackson who thought of that.
You know.
But I read about it because I'm a well-read man. So I read about the stripper name thing, and I heard it's like your middle name and the street you grew up on, or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can't throw a rock and hide your hand, not in the man cave. you know.
I try though.
People gonna come for you.
Brown liquor Murray.
Liquor Murray.
Drink.
No, it would be Glenn Woodford Murray. So if it's your middle name in the street you grew up on, I actually like my stripper name. My stripper name is Avery Princeton.
Oh, that sounds like
a superhero alter ego, don't it? Like,
yeah, sounds like your porn star name.
You look sexy, bro.
Oh God.
Man,
What's your
that
stripper
look,
name, El?
that look, man.
El, what's your stripper name?
Love Handles. Love Handles. It's been Love Handles a long time when I performed.
No. Not
Them
just
girls remember me back in the day.
stripper name.
Them girls remember me back in the day for laying it down. They would grip them handles, and we go for a ride, magical love ride.
Oh, it only took 11 minutes before the show went off.
What I'm not gonna do is battle L tonight. Like, so that's if he want to break the rules and that's his name. Okay, we gonna move along.
Thank you,
Robert Hazzard of the Hazzard Group. I can imagine what your stripper name would be, and your last name is Hazzard.
Excuse me. It's King Alvin.
Why am I the only one following the rules?
oh man, King.
Slow jazz.
That's a terrible stripper name.
Slow jazz. Slow jazz. I'm glad it wasn't slow jazz.
Yeah. So mine would actually be, and this is real, so none of that tell no jokes about it or nothing else. It would be it would be Russell Wood Park. Everybody was like, really?
It was just obvious that it was funniest to you. Like, you were just so tripped by it.
You gotta think about it, Shawn. You gotta think about it for a minute.
No. I mean, it didn't trip me up enough. Just,
I'm still thinking about it.
Hell, that is funny.
That is funny.
Did you look up Glenn?
Chocolate Thunder, just incredible.
Right.
Saying stupid shit.
Yeah, on my screen, that's what Glenn is. So it looked like you looked right up at him, like, what the hell did you just say? Based on where Okay. Now, I'm already tell y'all, Mel is not going to answer this question. So I'm going to try to figure out how he's going to answer it and not answer it. So, Mel, you up.
I would never be involved in such activities to have
Here we go.
Name.
If he doesn't get it, we'll pick one for him. We will pick one for you.
I have daughters. And I would never participate in such things that.
Man, I got a daughter. You right in the back.
Raj, you know what to do, Raj. You know what to do.
So I am the voice of reason. So because we have viewers that may have never seen the show before, and it seems like this is kind of a rambling beginning. Can we get into some topics, please?
So you policing the show now, so you don't have to answer the question?
No, I'm not policing. I'm not policing. I'm just
answer the question.
I did answer. You got my answer.
Which was not an answer, which I predicted.
Yeah,
so
you were right.
He gets the name that the production team gave him, which I like better anyway.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so
Nick Nipple.
The record state that dude has never answered a question he didn't want to answer on this show. You ask Mel, and he like, nope. I'm just nope. Hey, so I saw a clip, man, where they showed some people, and I traveled for the first time this past week. It was a bit nerve-wracking. You learn that people, they're not gonna do right. I don't care how many signs you put up, and times you tell people what's required. There was a guy in front of me on my flight out who had a row to himself, and 2 or 3 times they went by because he had his mask down or under his nose. And so they would tell him, raise his mask. And I'm thinking to myself, once you've had to tell him a couple of times, I'm thinking maybe you should be watching him now. but they ignored him. And for the most of the flight, dude, he sat there without his mask on, and he was sitting in a row in front of me. I was so annoyed. And then on the flight back, I had a layover, and on the first half, the flight was full, which was just, even though people seemed to do what they were supposed to do, it was just nerve wracking because I hadn't really been that close to people in a crowd like that, for a while. And then on the second half, I had a row to myself, so it was good. But I tested before I left, and then I tested when I got back, and already got my results, so I know I'm good. But it was just nerve wracking, man. It was nerve wracking. So I said all that to say I saw the little clip today with the protesters, and I think it was some protesters' kids as well, burning masks. What? I don't know what state they were in. Glenn, you know what state they were in?
Idaho. They were in Idaho.
They were in Idaho. Why does that not?
The Mississippi of the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
That's what I like to call it. But yeah, they had a mask burning ceremony in Idaho, and parents brought their kids, and the kids were basically participating in burning the mask, throwing the mask in a barrel, and lit the fire and everything. It was just really interesting look at our country today.
Oh, it's in shambles, dude. I'll tell you what was amazing for me, man, was once I got in Cali, seeing people in the airport, man, still wearing Trump shirts and hats. That was a little spooky, You want to ask them, it's over, right?
I'm surprised you saw a lot of that in California, though.
Yeah.
They must have been traveling to other places.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. I saw a little old lady on a walker with a Trump mask on.
Well, I guess you still got to use the stuff, even though he didn't win.
Yeah. Racist in California, too.
What'd you say, El?
It's racist in California, too.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, they had a group of people in LA County, who were blocking the vaccination site because they didn't believe in vaccines. So they literally had to shut down the site. This was a few weeks ago. They were keeping people from getting vaccinated, which I think is totally ridiculous. And I think you should go to jail for
that.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, man, how this is, but what I say is if you feel oppressed because you got to wear a mask to shop in Walmart, like black people are looking at you like you a dummy. Like if that's the most oppression. That's oppression to you, really?
Right.
Like really?
Do you think that people just want attention? Is that the reason why they're doing all that?
I think that's part of it, man. And I also think that, I have to say, I think the pandemic has kind of ignited some of that, the whole sheltering and quarantining and the useless need for what people communicate on social media now. I think that part of that is a frustration with not being able to engage the way you normally would. I think that's why, something like a movie can come out like the Come to America movie, and you see so many people just unsolicited, just bashing the movie. It's not even only because they thought it was bad, but they're so pressed to engage and have somebody know what they think, and a chance to say their piece. And this is their only way to do it, I think that it's having some real subtle kind of effects on the way people move around. And it's good to kind of step back and ask yourself how you're doing, through the pandemic, because whether you believe it or not, you're still being affected by it. Even if you feel better about it than you did a year ago, you're still being affected by it. And
a lot of it, from my opinion, I think some of it is you're seeing the change, but we want to seat at the table, and we're more vocal about it than we've ever been, and they're scared. So as a result, they're doing stupid shit all the time, and it's anything that they can do to rebel, anything for them to flex that they're not going to go quietly. They're going to keep lashing out, man. It's just going to keep going on.
Doesn't have to get attention, though, Mel. I mean, El, isn't that what people want to do now? Is get attention?
I think they want to strike fear into the hearts of their politicians.
Okay.
I think that's really kind of what it boils down to. They want to let them know we'll still come after you, but then when the FBI starts coming after them, they're like, "Oh, we didn't expect this."
Yeah.
You mean I can go to jail?
Yeah.
You mean I can go to jail for what I did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not to cut you guys off, but hey, Denise Walters, we appreciate you being with us. Denise shared that she dated a guy who decided not to date her anymore because she got the vaccine.
Wow.
Now, I've not heard that before. That's
ignorant.
I mean, I mean, you
I wouldn't
definitely.
date him either. I wouldn't date him either.
Yeah, good for you. You may have dodged a bullet, Denise.
Yeah, you probably dodged a bullet. And
Yeah.
I had heard of. I mean, I'm definitely, aware of people being on opposite sides of it, but I hadn't heard anybody take it to that extreme that, they thought they wouldn't date somebody. At the end of the day, and this is what I wish we would normalize. I wish we would normalize doing what's best for us and people not thinking they have a right to say anything about it. Like if what you're doing is best for you, if Denise gets the vaccine, she's not hurting nobody else. If she's hurting anybody, she's potentially hurting herself, nobody else.
That control is important, man. They just want to control somebody.
It really is. So I find it amazing that people have something to say about what people are doing that has no effect on them.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows you, man, how frail and fragile people's minds are. Before we go any further, I want to say one more time to everybody watching, please share the show to your page. If you just logged on and you weren't here when we first kicked it off, share the show to your page and help us get the word out about Live from the Cave and invite as many people as we can, because we lose somebody every week. So
and if you do that, Shawn
usually mailed.
He'll send you Skittles. He always do that. The ones with the neon ones too. The good Skittles.
Oh my God. Can we talk about relationships now? I thought I'd never ever say that. But can we move on to the relationship section of the show?
What particularly about relationships would you like to talk about, Glenn?
Well, Robert had some good conversations about expiration dates. Robert, would you like to share? Share with the family, Robert. Put your hand on the screen and share with us, Robert. Feel the love.
So, as we look at everything that we have, food products, everything, it says, it's good up until this date, right? So the conversation was, about everything and, having an expiration date. Should we go into relationships with the thought that they might have expiration dates? And then when they do, no. Hey, we got to talk about it, because hey, you know what? When that relationship comes to the expiration, we get to choose, or they get to choose whether or not they want to extend it, renew it, or leave.
Man, stale cereal is stale cereal. What are you talking about? You can't extend no expiration date on no Frosted Flakes, dog. When they go bad, they go bad. What are you talking about?
Well, let's not interject our personal buying preferences into this conversation.
Yes, because I like Captain Crunch, but okay.
I can usually rock with Mel on something like this, but this time I would say, once the Frosted Flakes go bad, there is no reviving them. However, a relationship can go bad and you can revive it. That's the only thing.
You can't mess with these cereals, because on the box it warns you that it's probably not healthy. So there are warning signs on the box when you buy your cereal that tells you that you shouldn't be eating it, probably. Like Frosted Flakes probably has like 99 grams of sugar, which eventually is not going to be healthy for you.
Yeah, and BHT, which is a preservative that might cause cancer. But here's my point. Here's my point in saying all of this, right? When you look at it with the expectation of it having an expiration date, I had a conversation with a young lady. It's some time ago. A young lady. We had been, I won't say intimate, but we had got close. We had kissed whatever a couple times and toyed with the idea of what it would look like. But there were some things that kept us from pursuing a relationship. And so when those things were no longer an issue anymore, it was like, man, we had all this chemistry. We have this great friendship and all of this other stuff. Why don't we look at what this could seriously look like, me and you being together? And she was like, man, we're just so close. I don't want to mess up our friendship or whatever. And I said, listen, that's because you're going into it with the expectation of it failing, right? So if you're going into it with the expectation of failing, then yeah, you're going to be worried about it. I'm not worried about us failing. I would rather us take the chance than not take the chance and be wondering when we 90, well, if only when we were in our 30s, if we'd have said, not you in Shady Oaks nursing home by yourself dying, You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
I knew.
Dude said Shady Oaks.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, wait a second. I was thinking Shady Oaks Cemetery, but
I know that's what we thought you was like saying.
Right.
He was like,
No, I'm just
That sounds like
saying.
a bunch of old infidels.
What I'm saying is, as far as the expiration date, I don't ever go into a situation thinking that there's an expiration date on this relationship, because hopefully I'm entering, or both of us are entering into this with the expectation of it being something. I'm not looking for the out or looking for when this is going to end or how it's going to end. So I'm not concerned with the expiration date. I'm like Keith Sweat, make it last forever.
So check this out.
Yeah.
Sweat reference.
My cousin, Big Darren Mason, Bradley University, Hale's class of '81. My cousin used to say this, and I think the word that's landing wrong is expiration, because it signals the end, right?
Yeah.
And so my cousin used to say that he thought marriage should include a bylaw or something that said, you know, after 10 years, you guys get to come back to the table, assess it, and decide whether or not you want to continue or you want to call it. And then, you know, you guys can whatever. And so you guys can decide, you know, who walks away with what or whatever. So I don't think it's a bad concept. But what I do think is that you should be checking in with your relationship regularly anyway. You know, you should be getting a bead on how your mate is doing or how your mate is feeling or how they think the relationship is going on a regular basis anyway. So I don't think you really need to set a time to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's something that should be done regularly.
Well, you know what though? I think though, 10 years. I mean, if I got to 10 years, you know, yeah, we're doing most marriages fail pretty quickly.
But I don't think it's something you should really be per se evaluating. For me, I don't know. I mean, and again, everybody's different. So it's not really evaluation. When she walks in the room, do I watch her approaching me? Do I still see her walking around in regular ass shorts, and does it still excite me? Do I still get excited about moments? And if that's not there, then you should think about evaluating it. But I don't think you should put a time, like Mel's saying, it's not something you put a time stamp on. You in this because you in it. And then if it turns into, bottom line, energy when energy gets together, it's either going to get more powerful or it's going to even off. And some people, when it evens off, they think that's a decline.
But L, there's a whole lot more energy and layers to the relationship to, you know, past how they make you feel when they go in and out of a room. Once you get to that, just hear me out.
The way you're taking it as me making that a specific thing. The thing is, do I still long to be with her, to make her to treat her special, to still want to, do I view her as my queen still? And that is a feeling.
For real.
Yeah, it's an emotion.
Put it in a very physical context. What I was saying was, it's so many other aspects that can kill that physical aspect of the relationship. I've been in relationships with people.
I'm talking about energy, man. I'm not talking about physical.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
I've been in relationships with people that were still fine and as tight and all that as they ever been, but the things we went through in the relationship made me unable to tap into that piece that I used to have for them for so long, because you start to feel differently about somebody, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like being in love with somebody you don't like. Like, it's easier to like somebody. It's easier to love somebody than it is to like somebody, because love is something that you do without condition. But when you like somebody, like, for you to like them, they have to feed a piece of you that makes you feel good. And, you know, like every woman I've ever loved, I still love them. Do I like them?
No.
You know, it's you know.
But those are the ones you didn't stay with. I need to be able to love you when you're not likable and like you when you're not lovable.
Oh, you preach that thing. That's
Come on now.
Yeah.
Here's my Bible.
Well, here's another spin on it, and I know that a lot of people don't agree with me on this one, but I also think that you should be assessing people for the possible breakup. And people think when you consider that you're buying into the failure of it. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you kind of don't know if you got a fool until you get to that point.
So they act a fool.
Right. So you kind of need to be able to assess them in light of how they handle situations like that. So if you got an ex you got a girlfriend who tells you who tires they slit or who windows they busted out.
Oh yeah, I'm not dating them.
That's going to depend on
I don't know. Jasmine Sullivan is she kind of she kind of
No,
hot.
if she busts the windows out of my car, I'm visiting her in jail and I'm pressing
Hey, Glenn,
I'm just telling you now.
out of my car, I'm sending lions and tigers and bears after her.
Exactly.
No,
you
you
gonna believe the fairy tales for real after that.
no,
Jasmine.
y'all ready?
Crazy women ain't sexy no more. They used to be kinda, but that thin line between love and hate thing is gone. I'm a little too old for that.
I saw somebody today where she said their dad told them not to marry a man until she had seen him upset.
Yeah.
Don't marry him until you've seen him mad. And because you don't know if when he gets mad, he's gonna curse you, he's gonna hit you. You don't know what he's gonna do when he gets mad if you've never seen that. And I see that thing the same way. Like you don't know who somebody is until you get to certain places with them. So, and I don't think to try to tap into that energy means you're embracing the failure of it. It just means that you're looking at who you're going to be with on the long term. And like, okay, if this is something that is going to be a part of our challenges or our breakups, then I don't think I want to sign up for it. That's
right.
That's just how I see it.
And I'm sorry, but dating is a trial period. So you get to set the rules, you get to set the parameters. Women do it, men do it, and it's fine because it's your rules and it's what you can live with.
And
so
that's
if you don't like
marriage,
right? So if you don't like, right? So if you don't like somebody because their second toe is longer than their first one, that's okay because that's your rule and that's your parameter. Nobody cares. You don't like them because you don't like how they brush their teeth or how they eat their food or whatever. It's dating.
But if you love handles, then L gonna have a line all around the block.
Yeah, L's your man. Then that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, if you like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And look,
love handles for you.
Love handles. That's why we call them LL, baby. Laughter and
That's
love.
right. You got the love. He got the handles. Put it together and make magic.
You have hit the jackpot. So check it out, man. Let's switch gears a little bit. I heard some talk about black separating themselves.
About what?
Black folks themselves, like having their own states, their own governments, their own. What do you think about that, Mel? You were. I don't know if you didn't chime in on the last one or just didn't have anything to contribute. But why don't we kick it off with you since we don't?
Oh, wait, that's because y'all crazy. So sometimes I don't say nothing. But yeah, as far as like black people having their own state or something like that, so our own state where? Within the United States? You know what I mean? Like
back when I saw it, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's number one, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Where we gonna go? You know what I'm saying? And who's gonna be the leaders? Yeah, like we can't even, and it's just my personal opinion, we don't even have a defined set of leaders now for everything that we're going through as a people now. So trying to take us out somewhere and put us all in a space and figure out who's going to be in charge and all of that other stuff, I ain't with it. I'm good. I'm all right where I'm at.
Now, don't nobody else lose your train of thought on this because I want to shoot something else at Mel. Now I've heard people say that that's our problem, that we feel like we need to have these designated leaders, and nobody else necessarily feels that way. No other culture necessarily feels that way, but we always, because it's part of our history.
It's bullshit.
Yeah,
I think that's bullshit. What do you mean nobody else has designated leaders? I think a lot of theirs go. I think here's the difference. Okay, so if you look at any structure, there is a bit of a hierarchy within that structure. If you take Italian families or Italian neighborhoods, you know who the leaders are in those neighborhoods. They might not be the voted in leader or something like that, but you know who those leaders are. In the Jewish communities, they know who those leaders are. There's a lot more teamwork and working together and all of that other stuff. in those communities to amass wealth and property and all of those other things. They're a lot more organized and a lot more put together. I think I heard it was Killer Mike. Might have been Killer Mike. They were at a conference or a convention or something, and everybody's talking about the revolution and us doing our own thing. And he was like, yo, if you ain't ready to grow your own food, if you can't hunt, if you depend on a grocery store and somebody else's electrical grid for you to get what you need in life, you ain't ready for a revolution. You ain't ready for none of this stuff. And I don't think we're there. And yeah, and I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
When dude said, if you don't know how to hunt, I was like, ooh, I'm sure not ready. Glenn, what do you think about it, man?
I kind of agree with Mel about that. I think it's just, I think it's crazy. We haven't been able to manage what we have now. And we've amassed power. We've done a lot of different things. So to talk about separation and all of this, people talk big revolution stuff, but they don't really, nobody's really ready to sign up for it when you start to think about it.
What do you think about the whole leadership thing? Do you think that there has to be a Dr. King on site, a Malcolm on site, or some larger than life figure that we are kind of getting our inspiration or information or direction from?
Well,
what do you think about that?
Without calling names, I think there's some leaders that were true leaders. I don't know that we have a lot of those now. I think corporations go to certain people to us, and those people go and extract certain concessions that help a few people, but don't really affect the masses and help, the general people. It doesn't go down, I should say. It doesn't trickle down to really help the people that need it.
So it sounds like you don't think that that's something that is that vital to the whole movement or cause.
I don't know that it's not vital, but I just don't know that we're equipped to do it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Robert, what do you think?
The wrong people are in place.
Rob. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Shawn, for asking.
So polite.
I think, I think it's already been said. I don't think we as a people are ready for that. We can't do a whole lot of stuff together. So I think it would be very difficult for us to move in that direction, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a drink after that. But
El shifted in his seat.
El has had a scowl on his face since this question. He's just been looking at the screen like, I can't tell if he's like mad or like he's just listening hard.
The thing is that we know where we. So if they gave you your own, if they said, okay, black people, this is your state. This can be your state. That means that we pick the governor, the mayors, taxes, this, and this. And the fact that we are already discounting the possibility of it. We already know what we get being part of the system with the people. We've been getting undereducated and all this other stuff. You don't want to do nothing different? You don't feel like we can do anything by ourselves? We've survived all this right now and we can't do nothing? I think it would be dope.
So just as a state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then we have farmland. If we want to set up a whole network of grocery stores coming from the farmland and within your own state, you could. And what's amazing is that they do it on native reserves all the time. And we say what we can't do quickly. I don't agree with everybody on the panel, but again, you all are entitled to your own opinions.
No, that's insightful, man. That's you don't have to apologize when you don't agree. Most of the time, we don't agree.
Yeah,
I don't agree with nothing Shawn and Mel say ever. I'm amazed when I agree because they're always to the left of me. So it's just
whatever. Lakers fan.
See, here we go.
It's an interesting ideology. It's an interesting concept. But I think that something that El says that I think is valuable that, is if you start somewhere, at least you then have the ability to expand that thing, and grow it as it works for you, you know. So if it was something that we started, you know, in a concentrated place and then tried to grow it, I think we would then, you know, figure out how to make it work, you know.
But here's okay. So I didn't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it now because the reservation struggle, and I think somebody mentioned that in the comments. Reservations were hit hard by COVID and things like that because they had lack of resources. Atlanta, Chicago, Baltimore are all majority African American leadership. So there are places where we control most of the government and most of the operations, most of the ward bosses, most of the civic organizations right now. So I don't know that we don't have a structure similar to that. We don't have a state, to your point, El. We don't have a state. So those cities are hindered by state law, and sometimes they're run by people of an opposite party. But there are cities that are run by African Americans.
Yeah, but
You know,
in a state,
but their agenda isn't strictly African American. And my understanding of this,
you're saying of one thought, one thought. Okay, so
yeah, not that we're in leadership. Man, I mean, we've had a black president, so we get that.
Call me selfish.
Huh?
Call me selfish. Right?
Okay, selfish. What you got to say?
Call me selfish. So, you know, I'm at this track meet. My daughter had a high school teammate who their parents live down here now. Her teammate was white. Of course, my daughter's black. We just went out to dinner, had a great time, great conversation, all types of stuff. We have, especially when it was just the three of us before Robert was the fourth one. You know, there have been times that we've had multiple guests of other ethnicities, so forth and so on here. One of my best friends from college who saved me from getting kicked out of school because my freshman year I was drunk off my ass. And, you know, I was 17 years old at the time and literally saved me, put me in his car when we had a fight. Somebody pulled the fire alarm. Right. And so maybe am I thinking of all of this? And El, I hear what you're saying. You know, we know what we get with these other people that are running, you know, various municipalities, so forth and so on. But I have had experiences where people in my life, friends, and I mean, even some family that I got mixed people in my family now, where I think the whole separatist aspect of it and the extreme state of that, you know, when I heard the question, what I hear is you round up all the black people and we go and we got our own space and it's just us and it ain't nobody else and all of that other stuff, where we've started to operate in a global community where it's a little bit different. I don't want to give up my friends that have been a part of my life that treat me well. You know, now for the other racist people and the regimes that are disrespectful and all of that other stuff, yeah, I could do without them. But there are people that are not of my race and not of my culture that I particularly enjoy and wouldn't want to be like, all right, well, let's cut everything off and all the black people go in one place and everybody else is in one place. That's what I heard.
And I never said anything like that.
I'm not saying you did, El, but the whole state of it being just all us in one place. That's what I was speaking to, not your answer.
So let's do it like this. If you have a neighborhood that is quote unquote a black neighborhood, the white people that move in that neighborhood or walk through that neighborhood or come through that neighborhood are white people who mess with black people. We're not saying that this is our state.
And for the viewership, he means mess with in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're not saying that this is our state. White people can't come in. White people can't come live here. But this state is going to be governed. This is our state. Whoever wants to mess with us is going to mess with us. Every time you've heard of white people moving out of a neighborhood when a black person moved in, it was typically those white people who didn't want to interact with black people. So if you say Georgia is a black state, or this state is, we're going to say this state is a black state and they can set their govern law, you know, governor, they have their own, you know, blah, blah, blah. They do their official, whatever, however the heck we want to do it. Those white people who decided they want to rock with us, they're going to rock with us. I ain't saying that.
But the truth is though, El, when they move out, they're running from us. When they move in, they're slowly trying to take us over. So they always have an agenda, whether they're coming or going. That's the way it seems to me. If they leave when we get there, it's because, like you say, they don't mess with us. And once they start seeing too many of us, they like, Molly, Bob, we gotta go. And then if they come in like Bronzeville is just basic gentrification. It's just happening slowly. All of a sudden, you start seeing white girls walking their dogs down 43rd Street, and you go, "The hell is that?"
Understand? I don't care about white people being around and kicking it with us. What I'm saying is that if you have a state that's governed by black people, if police stop you, they know there's some circumstances that's going to happen if they do something out of pocket.
Right, but my point on that was, I haven't seen white people move in because they mess with you. White people move in trying to take over what you have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like that. Let me ask you this, because we seem to be kind of a bit of a stalemate with this issue. But I want to ask you this: in the recent climate, and I know a little bit about how Mel socializes, so I know that he has a number of white friends and white comrades and people that he rocks with. Glenn, I know the same about you. But I'm curious to know if you guys have lost any of your white friends. So
do I.
Well, you're going to have that chance. But I was curious to know if you've had any white relationships that have been changed by the last 2 years, particularly the climate. And I know most of you guys are balanced enough to have somebody in your life that you see totally different than, and it doesn't affect you personally enough that you decide you don't want to rock with that person again. I'm sure some people can share some stuff and you go, you know what, you're morally bankrupt and I can't even rock no more. Have you had any relationships that even if they didn't end, you saw that they had to be modified moving forward?
I ended one.
Over that kind of thing?
Yeah, he called me a nigga.
Oh, well.
He was trying to do it in a cool way, but it still came off the same way.
Yeah. Rob, what about you?
I was just thinking, if anybody's called me a nigga, I don't think that, they've done it to my face. They've done it behind my back. But I think all the relationships change. I was just telling somebody this day, I come from a corporate world and so it's always different. It's whitewashed. And people will always show you they, party with you or during work hours, but after work, it's different. So yeah, the relationships are different, man. I just they're different.
Yeah. Glenn?
No, I haven't lost any relationships because of it. And, we've talked about this a little bit before. I mean, there's political differences, and I have friends that definitely have political differences. I have one friend who has relatives in the police department, so she's very much back to blue. And so, there were times when I needed to tune her out, definitely. But I didn't
hear back to blue. Do you hear just I support cops, or do you hear an adversity to Black Lives Matter in that state?
I don't know that it's an adversity. I think there is such a single-minded look at things. And that's what I have to avoid, because I don't believe in arguing with fools, and I don't believe in arguing a point that's never going to get through to somebody. Right. And you kind of know when you're not going to get a point through to somebody. So I'm not calling them a fool, but I'm saying they have their beliefs. I should respect everybody's beliefs. I would hope that they would respect mine, and I would assume they would respect mine, and they've never disrespected mine. So I can't disrespect theirs.
I'll share this, and I don't mind any hits I take for it. But when I hear Back to Blue, or particularly when I hear or see Blue Lives Matter, to me, I've never seen that on anybody's any black person's social media. First off, I've only seen it on white, and it seems like a direct attack on Black Lives Matter. And so that always lands on me very personally. It's like you're saying, okay, cops' jobs matter more than Black people's lives. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the distinct difference, and why I get offended when I see it, because that's your job. Mm-hmm. This is something that you can do or not do or retire from. I can't retire from being Black. Right. So it feels like a mocking to me. I'm not saying it is. I'm just talking about how it feels to me.
Right. Now, I've had a couple of friends, mutual friends of different races, who went at it and stopped being friends. They were both white, and they stopped being friends with each other because of their political differences. I was like in the middle. Like, can we all just get along? They were like, no, I can't talk to this person. They're an idiot. And and the person on the right was the same way. I just can't talk to them. They're an idiot. Like I said, there's got to be a level. It needs to start at respect. If you have friends, I don't care what color they are, if they don't respect you, then there's no basis to understand the differences. If there's a level of respect that starts out, I think whatever the differences are, as long as they're not extreme, and if they're not tuning you out and totally tone deaf to your needs and to what's going on, then I think there's some there's a mutuality that you can find there. There's some common ground that you can find, whether you agree, and you can agree to disagree, and that's fine too. I don't need everybody that agrees exactly like I do with me in my corner. I think that there needs to be a level of respect for the differences that we have, because we're gonna have differences. It's gonna happen. Like, I have friends of all nationalities, so no, we're not all different. We're not all the same, and we think differently. We do things differently, but we respect each other, and that's what's key to me.
I haven't lost any friendships, but I did have to modify the one friendship that I thought was probably, my closest with a white guy. I had to modify that and back up from it a bit, and I really felt like it was my mistake, and that was why I had to back up. That I had kind of given him some credit for being tapped in when he wasn't as tapped in as I thought he was. And then, the right thing happened that let me know that he wasn't where I had given him credit for being. And so I couldn't be mad at him, but I just felt like, okay, I gave you a little bit too much grace in that space, and that's on me, and we can be cool. But these conversations, they won't happen between us anymore. We can't talk about it. It's too hypersensitive. Hey man,
well, I think that's what I think. Just to add to that, I think that's what COVID has done. It's allowed us to be able to have these intimate conversations. It's allowed for people to be able to show who they truly are in those intimate conversations, and probably that's what happened in your situation. People weren't worried about how you felt, because they've been hiding behind a mask for so long.
Yeah, and I think if those relationships suffer, then that's the true state of them. Yep. It's not like the relationship is going to suffer or end and it be incorrect. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it suffers, that's probably the real state of it, and that's the change that needed to happen. So, hey man, you guys were awesome as always. El, you family man, and we always enjoy having you on, man, and appreciate your energy. And you may or may not realize this, but man, when you disagree or when we disagree, we look forward to it, man, because one of the things that I think is cool about this show is that everybody that sits in these seats is typically open to learning a different way and learning something that they didn't know before. And so anybody that pops in here on these 5 can do that for you, can make you, if you're open to it, can send you away going, I might need to revisit, the way I look at that, or revisit the way I think about that. And you have that ability to do that among us. And we hope we have that ability to do that with you. So it's all good. And then, we get some laughs as well, because we love
wisdom is gathered by the wise.
Robert, always a pleasure, my man. Glad to see you. Always glad your traveling mercies have gone so well lately. Mel, glad to see you in the spot doing what you're supposed to do. Dadding and daughtering. You did. And Glenn, man, always good to see you, man, and always a pleasure to just spend some time, man, and hear you out. And I'm gonna ask you this publicly, and I'm not coming for you. No, serious. Because you have so much to offer, and because I respect your level of intelligence, don't ever pull back what you want to say. Like you said, I wasn't going to say this. Come with it, man, because that's probably going to be the one thing that I need to take away that night. And I respect what you give us so much that I don't ever want you going, I would say that. I do that because I don't want to offend nobody. But that's not what you're gonna say. You're gonna say something that could change somebody's thought process. So
I don't know. This show lately, I've been offending people, so I don't know.
you have, which is pretty amazing. And keep up the good work.
You definitely offended me in the green room before we started, y'all. You should have heard the way Glenn was talking to me, y'all, before we got started today. Oh my God. Oh my God, my ears.
No plan. You should have just heard the way Neil was talking in general. That's what
really. When he wasn't cursing, you mean? When he wasn't
right.
Horrible.
I've got tender ears, you know. I'm feeling some kind of right now.
I just thought you were a Vulcan and they were just pointing.
No, everybody who's out there that doesn't agree with us either, because we appreciate that too. We want to hear that too. We appreciate that. Absolutely. We're not going to say what you want us to say all the time. We can guarantee that.
That's definitely not what this show is about. Which is why if you're thin-skinned, you might not want to hang out in here because it can get thick, you know.
Yeah.
And every show is different. Every single show is different, depending on the guest and what's going on in the world at the time. So, you know, that's why you all got to keep watching.
And
and subscribe. We got to have people. We got to have subscribe.
Conversation be different. That's what fascinates me. I've seen us cover the same subject, but cover it from a different angle, and the conversation be different. You know, just based on where everybody is at the time. But hey, man, we're running out of time, man. Everybody watching, we so appreciate you. So thank you, and hope that you will continue to watch and share and be a part of our family. You know, in the cave. It might just be us in the cave, but you all are our extended family, and our hope is to keep you and keep growing with you. So till next time, yo to the noobs. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week for sure.